Hi, I'm Vinny, and this is Vinny's View. I just got out of Star Trek, and I caught the 9:30 a.m. movie. I was so pumped up to see this movie. This movie did not disappoint. I'm pumped. This movie was incredible. So let me jump in the van, which is right behind me, all ready to go. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to give you a full review of this movie. I'm blown away, okay? Let me jump right in. I'll be right back. Thanks. Okay, I'm in the van now. I'm trying to calm down a little. This movie was unbelievable. So I saw Star Trek, 9:30 showing, pumped up to see it, did not disappoint. This movie is amazing. It's amazing. To give you a quick rundown, I'm not going to give you a whole plot on this, but to give you a quick rundown, as you probably know, it's a movie that takes you back to the original Star Trek characters and gives you their background, really, from when they were kids. It takes you from the beginning, showing you kind of how they became who they are, where they started from, basically how they became just great Starfleet captains and crew. So it was just the perfect beginning to the story. I mean, in fact, it did everything that Wolverine didn't do. I'm glad that these reviews came back to back, because Wolverine I saw last week, and my criticism was that it didn't give you enough backstory. It didn't trust the audience enough to sit through more backstory about Wolverine and about who he was. This movie gives it to you. The whole movie is basically backstory, taking you back to Kirk and Spock and the entire crew, and where did they come from? How did Kirk become such a bad boy? How did he become who he was? I mean, he started as a real bad boy, as a kind of a maniac, crazy kid, but brilliant, kind of living on the edge. I mean, and you can see where that translated into how he was as a captain in the Star Trek movies. I mean, the idea for this movie is just brilliant. I mean, you had this incredible series of movies. It started with the television series in the 60s and 70s. It went on to many movies. Went to the Next Generation. It went to lots of different spin-offs. But really, the essence of this of Star Trek is the original crew and the original cast. Now, obviously, they've gotten really old now, and they couldn't continue. So how do you re-energize this incredible franchise? And they did it in such a brilliant way. And J.J. Abrams, who directed this movie, who created Lost and Alias, things like that. He's more of a TV guy, but he did such an amazing job of recreating this cast and crew. I mean, they're basically, we got them from when they're kids now. So we have their origins, and we know where they're coming from, and it just sets you on a course for so many great movies. And you're going to start with the cast. The cast in this movie was perfect, absolutely perfect. I mean, Chris Pine, who plays James T. Kirk, he's perfect. He just as a young, kind of cocky bad boy, he really embodies everything that Shatner embodied in the Kirk character. He's just living on the edge, commanding by the seat of his pants. They cast him so perfectly. He's great looking, first of all, but the brashness and the cockiness that Chris Pine exhibits in this movie to create this Kirk character, just terrific. You have Zachary Quinto, who's in, I guess you would know him from Heroes and 24. He plays Spock, the young Spock, and you've seen pictures of him. You've seen him. You haven't seen the movie yet, but you've seen pictures of him. He's him. I mean, he's absolutely him. It's incredible how he embodies him, and but as a young person, because as a young Vulcan, he has a little bit more emotions. He's fighting his emotions because he's half human, half Vulcan. So I think Zachary Quinto is unbelievably. He's just perfect as Spock. And what's interesting about the Kirk and the Spock character, when they were young, they don't like each other. You see their camaraderie develop, and you see how really how they were at the beginning, and it's just incredible to watch the reimagination of these two characters. This plot also, I'm not going to give a lot of plot points, but this plot also has a lot of time travel involved in it, and it's very key to the movie. And that's where we're able to see Leonard Nimoy as Spock as well. So I'm not going to give it all away, but Leonard Nimoy is in the movie as well, and I think you all know about that, so I'm not giving anything away. But having him in the movie kind of brings us to the old cast, and it almost sounded a little cheesy to me when I first heard about it, but it's perfect, and it's really, really well done, and I think you're really going to enjoy having Nimoy as Spock in this movie as well. So there's a lot of great surprises with him, and I think he really brings it full circle, basically. So that was really a great idea to have him in there. You know, you think about the old series, how it really was kind of cheesy and, you know, almost cardboard cutout effects and, you know, spray painted green monsters. I mean, it really was a cheesy series, but it was, you know, brilliant in its creation. Some of the movies that followed, you know, some of them were very good. Like Wrath of Khan was obviously the greatest of them all. That was really a fantastic movie. And there was very many ups and downs with the other movies. Let's put it that way. Effects wise, they got better as it went along. The effects in this movie are so perfect. They're incredible. They're just absolutely perfect and gritty and raw. And the fight scenes are very gritty. And you know, really, my hat's off to the people who did the effects on this. I think it was ILM. They created space fighting scenes, and we've seen this a million times in a million movies. You haven't seen it like you see it in this movie. The way they do it here is unique, and it's just never ending, and just moves and constant movement and grittiness. It's incredible. So the effects in this movie, second to none, unbelievable, and you know, really, it takes Star Trek to where it really should be now. One thing I love is how they introduce some of the other characters, like Bones McCoy, Dr. McCoy, who is Kirk's longtime friend, and they really show where their friendship was developed early on in space, the Starfleet Academy, and you know, it's played by Carl Urban. He did a very good job, and you know, he embodied some of that gruffness and some of that pessimism that the Bones character always had. So he did a great job of embodying Bones McCoy. So Carl Urban, good job. Zoe Saldana plays Uhuru, who is the officer on the Star Trek who interprets languages, and the communications officer. And she's first of all, she's stunning, she's gorgeous, and she has the affections of some of the other crew members. We won't talk about them, but I don't want to give anything away. But she does a great job, and you know, playing the young Uhuru. I can't get her name. This cast is basically a lot of unknowns, so which is, I think, another just brilliant way of starting this new series with unknown players that you can kind of get to know and love, basically as the new Star Trek crew. Simon Pegg plays Scotty, and you know, he has some comic twist to him, and he has some comedic values to him, and he does a great job. John Cho plays Sulu, and Sulu is so cool in this movie, and he you know, he gets to use some of his martial arts in this movie, and he's very cool. So John Cho does a nice job as well. I think our friend George Takei would be very happy with Sulu. He doesn't have the low voice, but George Takei would be very happy with the cool Sulu. Some of the other new players in this are Eric Bana. He plays Nero. He plays the bad guy, and he's a great bad guy. And the backstory involving him and why he's so bad and why he is attacking everybody, it's pretty strong. It's a very strong story, and Eric Bana does a great job playing this villain. Okay, so to wrap this whole review up, as you can see, I'm really excited about it. You know, I'm a big Trek fan. I'm not a Trekkie, but I have seen probably every movie, and I've seen most of the series. And I've always liked the movies, and I've never gone to a Trek convention, never went on the Trek cruise, okay? So I'm not a Trekkie. But, you know, as a Star Trek fan, you do get a lot more out of it being a fan, and there's those little pieces in there that, you know, those little catchphrases that people will say, some of the characters will say, that, you know, you get a nice laugh out of it, and you see the genesis of some of these great catchphrases. You know what? You do not have to be a Star Trek fan, though, to see this movie. It is, it stands on its own. It doesn't hurt to be a Star Trek fan. So I think everyone should see this movie. So I'm going to say must see this movie. It's the best movie of the year so far. Blows away anything else that's come out. And I think it's going to be just a huge blockbuster this summer. I want to see something top it. Okay? It's a great movie. Okay? So I'm Vinny, and that was Vinny's View. And look, I can do this, live long and prosper, but I'm not a Trekkie, okay? Okay, I'll see you next time. Thanks.